You know, there are some stories in sports that sound so wild, they feel like they were ripped straight out of a Hollywood script. A story about part-time players, impossible odds, and one single unbelievable moment that led to what might be the biggest upset ever. Well, this is that story. This is what happened on June 29th, 1950.
1-0. That was it. That was the final score. But look, this wasn't just any old game. This was the mighty England, the self-proclaimed kings of football, playing against the United States in the World Cup, a result that at the time made absolutely no sense to anyone.
And here it is. You can see it for yourself. Black and white from the official records of the 1950 World Cup in Brazil. United States 1, England 0. So this image, it grounds this legendary tale in cold, hard fact. The question isn't if it happened, it's how in the world did it happen? And that's really the big question we're going to dig into. How on earth did a group of part-timers, guys who were given no chance by anyone, not even themselves, somehow manage to beat the most powerful soccer team on the entire planet? Okay, so to really get how big of a miracle this was, you have to understand the absurd mismatch we're talking about here. It was, and I'm not exaggerating, a battle between giants and, well, let's just say, not giants. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's staggering, really. On one side, you've got England, the kings of football, rocking an amazing post-war record and sitting at 3-1 odds to win the whole tournament. And on the other side, the U.S., a team literally just thrown together who had lost their last 7 international games by a combined score of 45-2. Their odds, a laughable 500-1. And who were these American players? They weren't pros. The team captain, Walter Barr, was a high school teacher. The goalie, Frank Borghi, he drove a hearse for his uncle's funeral home. The rest of the team was made up of guys who were mail carriers, dishwashers, and get this, the entire team had only practiced together one single time before they flew to Brazil. And if you think I'm exaggerating how little they thought of their own chances, listen to this. This is a quote from their own coach, Bill Jeffrey. "We have no chance." He literally called his own players sheep ready to be slaughtered. That's the level of confidence we're working with here. All right, so the stage is set. You've got the mighty English against a bunch of American amateurs. Everybody, and I mean everybody, expected a complete annihilation. But then, the game started.
And just like everyone predicted, the first part of the game was pure domination by England. It was shot after shot after shot raining down on the American goal. The U.S. team was just pinned back, desperately kicking the ball away, basically just trying to survive the onslaught. It wasn't really a soccer match, it was a siege. And then, 37 minutes in, the moment that made no sense happened. Out of absolutely nowhere, the U.S. gets a rare break. The captain, Walter Barr, the teacher, he just launches a hopeful long shot from about 25 yards out. It was probably going to go wide. But then a forward named Joe Geichens makes this insane, impulsive diving header. The ball just grazes his head, totally changes direction, and trickles right past the stunned English goalie and into the net.
And the official match report confirms it all. You can see it right there in the 38th minute, the only goal of the game credited to Joe Geichens. Suddenly, against every odd imaginable, the sheep were leading the Lions 1-0. But scoring that goal was only half the battle, right? Now they had to hold on for another 53 minutes of furious English attacks. And the absolute hero of that second half was, no question, the hearse driver, goalkeeper Frank Borghi. He made one incredible save after another to somehow keep that unbelievable lead. So when that final whistle finally blew, the U.S. players were celebrating, but the rest of the world just didn't really know what to do. The aftermath of the game is almost as surreal as the result itself. This is where the story gets even crazier. Nobody believed it. There was only one American journalist at the entire World Cup. When the score came over the newswire, the New York Times thought it was a prank and refused to print it. In England, several newspapers just assumed it was a typo and that the real score was 10-1 for England. The story was so insane it was literally treated as fake news. So because of all this disbelief, the story pretty much just vanished. It was almost lost to history, just a forgotten little footnote. It took decades for it to get the recognition it deserved. For 40 years, the U.S. didn't even qualify for another World Cup. It really wasn't until the 1990s that people started getting interested in the story again, which eventually led to the 2005 movie that finally brought this incredible tale to a huge audience. And over time, the game finally got the name it deserved, the Miracle on Grass. It's a direct callback to the Miracle on Ice from 1980, when that U.S. college hockey team beat the powerhouse Soviet Union. Both of them are just these towering pillars of the ultimate underdog story in American sports. And that really makes you think, doesn't it? The story of these teachers and mail carriers and hearse drivers, it still hits so hard today. It's a reminder that on any given day, the impossible can actually happen. So it's worth asking ourselves, why do we root for the underdogs so much? What is it about these miracle moments that just captures our imagination completely?